The actor deeply loved the franchise, revealing a substantial emotional investment. For most of his acting career, he had been involved with the project, witnessing it grow from a small beginning to being accepted, loved, revered, and cherished by whole generations whose lives the story had enchanted. An interviewee reflected on how the animated movie carried a powerful feel and theme, and how seeing everything come together in live action enhanced the experience, making it bigger, grander, and more beautiful. The arena, characters, and dragons were described as immersive elements contributing to the incredible world building. Another participant noted the same magic and childlike wonder in the live-action version as in the original film, evoking nostalgia while bringing new energy. The increased stakes, larger dragons, and real fire heightened the excitement, giving the sensation of being on the edge of one's seat. The actor shared a long-held wish to experience the film's worlds firsthand, living and breathing the character stoic, fighting dragons, and experiencing deep father-son emotions that became a reality with the new movie. Dean DeBlois, the franchise's writer and director, shared insights about the production's beginning and his lifelong desire to work in live action. His excitement stemmed from the opportunity to build a world and revisit beloved characters with fresh perspectives while maintaining the story's heart and original ambition. The adaptation process required changes from the original 12-book series, as 12 movies were not feasible. However, films need to stay true to the spirit of books. The story had a poignant message buried within a spectacular adventure themes of finding one's voice and courage to follow personal convictions in a conformist world. Marching to one's own drumbeat was emphasized as an essential life lesson for the director, which he aimed to carry forward in the film. The casting process, particularly for young actors, focused on capturing the character's essence without replicating their animated counterparts. The director and casting team searched for actors who brought chemistry, specificity, and charm to their characters. The lead actor was described as a brilliant, fine, nervous, yet perfect, tall, anxious, and captivating from the first read, inspiring awe and excitement among the crew. The actor playing the lead character felt honored and almost in disbelief at the opportunity, recalling that the character had been a childhood hero. The depth, complexity, humor, and physicality brought to the character in live action were highlighted as advantages of this format, providing a fresh take by a talented young actor. The process of bringing the beloved story to life in live action was described as both frightening and thrilling, and there was immense respect for the franchise's passionate fan base. Despite the challenges, there was great excitement to breathe new life into the character and the world that so many loved. The goal was to retain all the beloved aspects of Hiccup's character, his charm, and almost self-mocking nature, while introducing a new depth that added darkness and sadness. Parker expressed admiration for the latest portrayal of Hiccup, seeing him as a brilliant role model for a new generation, someone to know, love, and be inspired by. There was a feeling of privilege in witnessing this evolution up close and being cast as his Astrid, which was described as a lasting fortune. The creative team noted the remarkable chemistry between the actors playing Hiccup and Astrid, emphasizing that they uniquely embodied the core traits of their characters in a way no one else could. The intention was to keep Astrid from being mean, portraying her disdain for Hiccup as part of a larger agenda. Her character cared deeply about the fight against dragons, about proving herself, and about all of them proving themselves, representing the successors who would carry on their parents' legacy. This fight, their parents' war, was becoming their own to face. Astrid's soul, embodiment, and power were central to the story, and Nico's performance captured this perfectly, with talent and range. The collaboration was seen as essential, with Nico's energy described as infectious, making others want to be around her and be her friend. Her humility, kindness, and caring nature were particularly cherished qualities. The cast displayed playful camaraderie, even joking about becoming stepbrothers, which lightened the atmosphere on set. Julian Dennison, who played Fishlegs, brought a unique comedic rhythm to the role, perfectly matching the character's enthusiasm for dragons. Julian's portrayal shone through his natural weirdness, which people found attractive and funny. His passion for the role stemmed from his childhood love of similar characters, and he conveyed Fishlegs' heart and eagerness, especially when talking about the things he loved. The character was described as a lovable weirdo, a trait both the actor and the audience adored. On set, it was difficult to be mean to Fishlegs because of his sweetness, which led the actor to change the usual tough approach to teasing the character into genuine affection. There was praise for Julian as a comedian and friend, highlighting his humor, incredible acting skills, and unique physical traits that made watching him work a pleasure. The dynamic duo of Roughnut and Toughnut was also celebrated. The actors playing them, Bronwyn and Harry, had such strong chemistry that they often finished each other's sentences, sometimes speaking simultaneously, making their partnership feel like looking into a mirror. This connection deepened the understanding of their characters as two parts of one person. Harry expressed joy about working with Bronwyn, describing it as a dream and wanting to do it all the time, even humorously mentioning chaining himself to her waist to ensure they stayed together on set. Bronwyn was regarded as a joy to work with and universally loved for her warmth, kindness, and sweetness. She was especially valued as the only female among the recruits. This solidarity among the female cast was embraced as a blessing. Astrid's distinctive, unbothered facial expressions brought laughter and added warmth, making her presence all the more appreciated by the cast. The friendly banter among the cast members exemplified the enjoyable, close-knit environment on the set of How to Train Your Dragon. Snotlout, portrayed by Gabe Howell, was described as having confidence beyond his size. He embodies a gigantic ego in a pint-sized package, yet still manages to be someone the audience roots for. Snotlout's character was hyper-masculine, believing himself to be the best and thinking everyone was constantly admiring him, even though no one really was. Despite this, Gabriel's charm made him widely loved by the cast and presumably the audience. Parker noted that many secretly loved him because of his wonderful personality. During the audition, the actor noticed that much of what the director liked was the idea of an impending transformation, any day now, into the person he aspired to be, both in stature and confidence. The character was portrayed as smaller and less mature than those around him, reflected physically in his shorter stature and a bit younger appearance. This gave the character an exterior, suggesting a significant presence within a more petite frame, initially masking much of his intelligence. Over the course of the story, the character reveals heart, loyalty, vulnerability, and compassion qualities present all along but hidden because he was unsure how to express them, fearing they would be seen as a weakness. A young actor named Gabriel brilliantly played the character's son, even physically resembling a mini version of the actor. Seeing the characters together in live action added an authenticity that animation alone could not capture. Another actor praised Nick Frost's performance as Gobber, noting his phenomenal ability to bring humor and a larger-than-life presence to the character. Frost shared that he was surprised to be cast, especially given the age described in the script, which framed Gobber as being in his early 60s, while Frost was in his 50s. Despite this, Frost embraced the role and the dynamic on set, playing opposite much younger actors. He explained how a knee injury influenced the character design in the live-action version, switching the missing leg from right to left as a practical accommodation. The director highlighted Gobber's disarming and lovable nature, blending crass humor with wise, affectionate moments that enriched the performance. The character of Stoic was described as a tall, strong, and fierce warrior with layers of complexity, including a deep love for his son, though struggling to accept who his son has become in a changing world. The actor who portrayed Stoic carried a special responsibility as the only returning actor from the animated films, bringing authenticity, warmth, and charm from the original portrayal into the live-action adaptation. The other cast members admired his performance and presence, noting how watching the intense scenes was an honor. The actor playing Stoic also reflected on the character's internal struggle to accept and understand his son's identity, creating a compelling dramatic arc rooted in pride and love. The director described filmmaking as a collaborative effort involving the best artists and artisans, creating a close-knit, talented team dedicated to bringing the story to life. He explained that although he never formally studied live-action filmmaking, documenting everything on set helps capture honest and unique moments that are hard to recreate. The production team was praised for assembling expert creatives like designer Dominic Watkins and director of photography Bill Pope, who contributed meticulously to building the movie's world. The director recalled his first conversation with Dean DeBlois about adapting the animated film to live action, realizing the original was nearly perfect, but excited by the challenge of translating it to a new format. The team continued to experiment every day to achieve this goal. Throughout production, a playful, energetic atmosphere prevailed among the team, blending dedication, humor, and camaraderie. Dean DeBlois was recognized as a unique writer and director known for his emotional intelligence and creativity. There was great excitement about his role as the director of the live-action project, and I had an intense admiration for him both professionally and personally. His connection was so close that they even spent New Year's in Iceland, sharing a bond described as essentially Viking. The production was set off the coast of Iceland in the spectacular Westman Islands. A location scout was held there, with many plates filmed using a film camera mounted on a helicopter. The helicopter cruised across the sea and through canyons to digitally capture images and reconstruct the landscape. The ultimate goal was to ensure that the visual effects appeared seamless. The biggest challenge of the movie was creating the world of Berk as a consistent, lived-in environment where every detail, helmets, costumes, and dragon designs, had purpose and history. The production drew on influences from cultures and ethnicities worldwide to create a diverse village that reflects a beautiful cultural exchange, reflecting Dean's vision. Regarding the sets, Dean insisted on a 360-degree immersive feeling. Statues of great Vikings, dragons, tapestries, and folklore surrounded the sets, with dragons recurring as motifs in furniture, carvings, and architectural details. The production's level of care and detail was extraordinary, making the world feel aged and inhabited by families and tribes that had existed for generations. In the center of the town stood a mosaic illustrating the history of Vikings coming together from their original tribes. Various tradespeople were represented, such as carpenters, painters, blacksmiths, and weavers. The village atmosphere was so immersive that even a fish hut contained real fish, and fans blew the fishy smell into the village, intensifying the realism. The Great Hall was the most sacred place, built mostly inside a cave to protect against dragonfire, with the rock offering defense. A tiny chamber at the back of the cave housed the Book of Dragons, the most revered possession. This book compiled knowledge from warriors worldwide about various dragons that plagued their regions and contained vital survival information. One such dragon, the Bone Napper, was known for covering itself with the bones of its victims. The Book of Dragons was modeled after the famous illuminated manuscript, The Book of Celts, from Trinity Library in Dublin, Ireland. This prop was one of the most expensive, assembled with care by artists, leatherworkers, and printers, and represented the largest book ever made by the binders. It was leather-bound, with Japanese vellum paper, unified in a dragon style as if envisioned by a single artist. This book was intended to transcend the film, becoming a treasured saga shared and exhibited worldwide. Location scouting extended to the skies to find places where Toothless, the dragon, would fly. Scouts scouted incredible cliffs with the advice to just add dragons. The film was enthusiastically described as amazing and filled with dragons. The dragons were a central attraction. The production aimed to impress with Toothless and the full array of species depicted. Drawing from global dragon mythologies, including Chinese, Middle Eastern, and North African traditions, the film expanded its dragon world to be diverse and grounded in the natural world. Each dragon featured a unique fiery look, such as the magnesium, plasma-like flames of the Natter, the cannonball-like Gronkle, and the napalm-like lava-rai splatty flame of the monstrous Nightmare. Puppeteering played a vital role on set, with Tom Wilton and his team working closely with actors. This collaboration was crucial for actors to perform effectively with dragons that were not physically present. Puppet training was part of the preparation, which, though it might have seemed silly, was enjoyable and essential for understanding the dragon's scale and presence. This process significantly influenced the actors' performances when interacting with the dragons, enhancing the authenticity of their on-screen engagement. The group often held back and exchanged ideas about working with Toothless, encouraging a collaborative approach to treating the dragon as a partner. The director highlighted that a similar approach was taken with Stormfly, Astrid's dragon, which added an exciting dynamic. One of the biggest challenges in the production, beyond designing dragons that felt real, was creating believable imagery of a person riding a dragon. The team used gimbals with dragon animatronics mounted on top, allowing the dragon to move naturally. This setup makes the character appear like a jockey on a horse, part of the dragon's movement, creating an impressive, immersive effect. The animatronics were described as wild and amazing to witness for the first time. An emotional highlight came when an actor saw another performer riding the gimbal for the first time, a core Framestore innovation. Before physical construction, the design was extensively tested with special effects in the computer, making the journey both emotional and rewarding. The final result convincingly portrayed the bond between Hiccup and Toothless as they rode together. Such an opportunity to ride a dragon was described as rare and extraordinary. One member likened Meatlug to a big dog that wanted affection and care, expressing genuine love for the character. When the animatronics were activated, the sense of something alive, moving, and breathing was palpable, making the experience terrifying yet amazing. The deep connection that developed quickly showed how much care was put into the ride. There were playful moments as the team shared tips about dragon riding, alongside candid admissions of initial difficulty and mild discomfort. However, being on a dragon with wind and movement was truly remarkable and unforgettable. During the filming of a scene titled Test Drive, the inclusion of music transformed the atmosphere, making the moment memorable and magical. One participant reflected on their childhood fascination with the scene and the surreal feeling of now being part of it. The production involved meticulous scrutiny, with hundreds of shots reviewed daily to refine details such as highlights, focus depth, and the integration of visual elements. Framestore delivered a beautifully polished final product under the supervision of key visual effects supervisors. Framestore employed about 1,200 people to work on the film, and seeing the finished product evolve from early ideas and previews was highly rewarding. One actor found it surreal to see themselves as Hiccup mounted on a Night Fury dragon. The director envied the actors for the immersive experience of wearing costumes and walking the sets, describing how transportive it was, truly making them feel as if they were on the island of Berk. The lead actor described his costume as filling Hiccup's boots, donning a huge, exquisitely designed outfit, the most intricate he had worn in many years. The costume team tried to amplify his presence by padding and adding details such as pauldrons, carefully crafted by their metalworker, who also used 3D printing and metal casting for some pieces. The 3D printed materials were designed to be soft for stunts and safe action scenes. The costume designer was praised for her exceptional work on the lead actor and all the actors. She created hundreds of unique costumes and helmets that served as distinct fingerprints for each character. Some helmets reflected Slavic influences with nose pieces, while others drew on Mediterranean and Silk Road cultures with different shapes and animal horn designs. Crowd helmets numbered around 200 to 220, featuring interchangeable horns to maintain variety. The actor playing Hiccup shared a deep personal connection with his costume, joking that it was sewn into his skin because it was so difficult to take off. He fully embraced Hiccup's identity, even offset, sometimes being referred to as Sir Hiccup by colleagues. Other actors expressed love for their costumes and the experience of becoming their characters. Getting dressed with assistants evoked childhood memories and a sense of irreversible transformation once fully suited up. Seeing their reflections in costume brought a strong sense of identity with their characters. The designer was also noted for fitting helmets like puzzle pieces, capturing the silhouette that made each character instantly recognizable. The team admired their visual distinction as they lined up side by side. The makeup and hair team, led by an Oscar-winning designer, cast a wide net for inspiration, which they skillfully funneled into unique, fitting looks for each character. Visiting the wig and hairpiece workshop revealed the creativity and craftsmanship of bringing the characters to life with such detail and dedication. The actor recalled that despite the winter in Belfast, the multiple layers of costume made him unbearably hot, causing him to sweat heavily. This perspiration caused the glue holding his beard and mustache to soften, leading them to peel off frequently. Between takes, an assistant would use a leaf blower inserted down the back of his suit to pump air and cool him off. One of the actors volunteered to portray one of the burly Vikings that the protagonist mocks. The costume team quickly outfitted him, including a distinctive worn wig provided by Alessandro. Once the helmet was positioned, the costume felt secure. The weapons master introduced Stoic's axe, closely based on the animation designs with some personalized motifs and changes, including a Celtic pattern. He showed Hiccup's lighter axe version and Astrid's axe, which was made in different sizes with detailed leather bindings. Other weapons included Fishleg's mace, Snotlout's spiked mace, and Roughnut and Toughnut's quarterstaffs, representing the trainee group and younger characters. Although the cast liked the weapons and often wanted to take them home, the crew prevented them from doing so. When given the chance to meet his sword, one actor expressed eagerness and admired the runes inscribed at the top and bottom, meant to honor the character's long-lost wife. The design incorporated flames emerging from the mouth on both sides. The actor reflected on the difference between animated action and live-action sequences. While animated fights are fun and mainly for children, the live-action fights with real people, flames, and giant dragons convey immediacy and danger, offering a more powerful experience. The director mentioned that the film was action-packed and that the live battle scenes added layers beyond the animation. During production, actors underwent extensive 3-week rehearsals and stunt training, including weapon handling and fitness training. Mason, the lead actor, was commended for his physical talent. Sometimes his movements appeared too perfect, leading the team to ask him to make them look scruffier. Although Mason enjoyed doing stunts, most of his scenes involved running and falling while wearing protective gear, such as back and knee pads. The use of pyrotechnics on set added excitement. Actors took turns pretending to be hit by fireballs, and special effects, such as exploding shields with pyrotechnics and sand, were used to create bright, quick burns. Actors spent weeks learning weapon handling before being reminded that their characters were inexperienced children meant to lose fights, which changed their approach on set. One actor shared the thrill of being dragged through the mist during a scene in which a helmet falls off, hoping the effect would look great on screen. The stunt coordinator praised Nico's remarkable work, especially her fight scenes on the teeth of the Red Death Dragon. The physical intensity allowed actors to express pent-up rage, making filming feel like an enjoyable release. The team used an air bellow rig to simulate the Red Death Dragon's head movement and electromagnets on the teeth caps for interactive fight scenes, in which characters could axe the teeth, which would fall apart on cue. The combat was full of character, with every move and gesture perfectly choreographed, blending silliness with impressive visuals. Despite occasional distractions during scenes, the actors' performances contributed to the dynamic and entertaining fight sequences. De Blois envied the comedy troupe they had assembled, believing the experience would become a significant chapter in their lives. Much like the Hobbits in The Lord of the Rings, the troupe members lived, ate, and spent weekends together, arriving on set to play and develop their characters collaboratively. Nico was present among the cast of How to Train Your Dragon and acknowledged that she sometimes felt nervous. She joked that her character, Hiccup, was leading despite being completely useless. Parker shared that the cast lived together in an apartment building where they often gathered in Julian's apartment. They communicated through group texts to organize bringing things like pans or towels. Parker enjoyed cooking dinners and hosting movie nights to combat homesickness while away from New Zealand. When anyone on the team felt homesick, the group rallied to cook meals together, go out or watch movies, fostering strong camaraderie. De Blois humorously asked if anyone had invented a Viking fist bump, sparking laughter among the group. Howell reflected that Dean had carefully chosen cast members who wanted to work together and were fans of the movie, creating a group eager to preserve the story. They rehearsed and improvised together with lots of laughter. There was also playful folklore and jokes, which contributed to a joyful atmosphere. Frost described the contagious energy on set, enjoying watching the cast have fun together. The first 5 weeks were spent training in a freezing, rainy, snowy arena, where everyone bonded through shared challenges. As production wrapped, the crew celebrated, marking the end of filming Harry and Bronwyn's storyline. Some expressed excitement about returning home, but sadness about finishing the movie. One crew member visited the sets one last time before they were dismantled to make way for new productions, feeling bittersweet over the fate of the incredible work involved. Dean had emphasized that while jokes are memorable, creating wonder is lasting. The crew unanimously felt the job was filled with love and care, evident in every detail. The experience was described as a dream come true, with hopes of seeing beloved characters like Hiccup again. De Blois praised the crew's craftsmanship, enthusiasm, and passion, confident that the film would be memorable. Butler recounted the magic they made together for the right reasons, expressing gratitude for the team, who had become like brothers through the process. De Blois marveled at the exciting and dazzling footage they had captured, describing the entire production as one giant adventure. Each day brought gratitude for the opportunity to be part of such a special project. The team welcomed viewers to Berk and expressed excitement about the extraordinary sets on this project. One crew member remarked that nothing had surpassed the incredible environment of this particular setting. They enjoyed being part of a real place that helped bring the visualization to life. The depiction of Dean's Viking world, especially his vision of Berk, was described as incredible. The set was fully realized and immersive, allowing everyone to feel transported the moment they stepped onto it. The team found it thrilling to stand with the dragons in the arena under perfect lighting, sharing a sense of awe and excitement. The director conveyed immense enthusiasm for witnessing the entire world come together in tangible form, beyond just digital designs, so the cast and crew could physically explore the space. The world of Berk blended features reminiscent of Ireland, Northern Ireland, Iceland, the Faroe Islands, and parts of Scotland. Location scouting involved examining the island's rock formations to plan filming and scanning excursions. Digital technology was used to capture entire canyons and coasts for later augmentation, enabling dynamic virtual lighting and movement akin to following a high-speed race car. Research showed that the island's inhabitants reflected a global Viking heritage, with influences extending from Asia. The set and decoration incorporated these historical touches, striving to remain true to the Viking period around 900 to 1100 AD while respecting the animated style of the original work. The production designer expertly created a lived-in Viking world based on a real island scaled up for the project. This included detailed maps showing the layout of villages and arenas. Construction began on the vacant backlot for the Viking village. The production involved sourcing materials and coordinating numerous trades, such as carpenters, sculptors, metalworkers, painters, and scenic artists, to bring the design to life. Character and style development focused primarily on crafting large-scale sculptures first sculpted in clay and later produced full-size. Months of planning, designing, painting, and decorating culminated in a fully realized world where everything was tangible and interactive, populated by actors portraying Vikings in motion. The weaponry team was praised for their world-class craftsmanship, creating numerous fantastical yet realistic weapons from scratch. The collaboration between weapon makers and set decorators ensured a coherent, abundant arsenal totaling hundreds of unique items. The arena set featured intricate details, including tunnels etched with Viking runes, badges, swords, and dragon imagery elements unseen by the camera, but that contributed to the world's authenticity. The Great Hall was another highlight, showcasing the production designer's vision as skilled artisans built and detailed it. The hall contained Viking artifacts, weaponry, and large statues honoring forefathers, with an elaborate library set extending the immersive experience. Elaborate tapestries told stories of Viking life and history. These were meticulously designed and embroidered in India before being finished with beautiful details on set. The entire environment was immersive, especially when populated by hundreds of actors, creating a vibrant, believable Viking world. The production team built an enormous Viking ship, believed to be the longest currently constructed. A sea stack was brought in to pass by the stationary ship to simulate movement during filming, creating the illusion of a moving vessel on stage. Additionally, the episode featured siege weapons such as trebuchets and catapults, carefully crafted to match the animation's style. As filming neared its end, the sets were prepared for dismantling. The director, deeply attached to the world he had created, even threatened to chain himself to prevent the sets from being taken down, highlighting the affection and pride he invested in the project. Strict warnings were given to handle the sets with care until the conclusion. Despite the bittersweet farewell, the team embraced the achievement of capturing the entire world on camera, ensuring its lasting presence in the film for audiences to enjoy indefinitely. The filmmakers acknowledged that audiences come to these movies primarily for the dragons, so they aimed to meet those expectations without leaving them disappointed. They recognized some dragons had cartoonish traits, such as the Gronkle, and their challenge was to transform familiar features into creatures that felt palpably real, almost as if one could reach out and touch them. The design team sought visual anchors for each dragon, assigning specific attributes both from a design perspective and through performance. They aimed to make the dragon's behavior relatable, encouraging viewers to recognize familiar animal-like gestures, such as those of dogs or cats. Under the leadership of Framestore artists, the design process maintained the essential cues that defined characters like Toothless while integrating the subtlety and grace of real animals. The intricate construction involved realistically building bones, tendons, and muscles, creating believable anatomy and movement. Toothless drew inspiration from several animals, primarily a black panther in movement, coupled with wing-spreading characteristics akin to a golden eagle. The dragon's personality needed to balance endearing cuteness with a fearsome presence, especially in the initial encounter with Hiccup. Vocally, Toothless's sounds blended human voice, elephant, horse, and dog sounds, selected to capture the right emotional tone. The long-standing human relationship with dogs informed sound design, using familiar canine effects to express affection. The monstrous nightmare was portrayed as a flamboyant dragon grounded in natural references with tiger-like stripes and reddish tones and a serpentine body modeled after a crocodile. The Gronkle was designed to be large, lovable, and somewhat clumsy, with wings inspired by bumblebees. The Zippleback took cues from snakes, particularly the ball python's resting posture. The Natter exhibited vibrant turquoise-blue colors, drawing inspiration from animals like cassowaries and parrots. The Terrible Terror retained its original design from prior adaptations, but was imbued with chameleon-like eyes, embodying the mischievous, cranky seagulls of the dragon world. The Red Death, the film's primary antagonist, was modeled after an old lion, featuring a hefty mask that made every movement a significant event. The production enlisted an elite puppetry team to avoid using tennis balls or placeholders for visual effects. Puppeteers performed the dragons live during filming to give actors realistic interaction points. This approach was particularly critical during the first contact scene between Toothless and Hiccup, where the subtle hesitations and gentle touches were captured authentically. Actors found working with the puppeteering team invaluable, allowing them to deliver convincing performances despite the initial uncertainty about what they would be interacting with. The actors went through extensive rehearsals, sometimes spending weeks training on advanced rigs designed to simulate dragon riding, akin to horseback riding but with complex mechanical setups. A sophisticated bucking gimbal was created to simulate the movement of Toothless and other dragons in flight. This 6-axis gimbal enabled multi-directional motion, providing actors with physical feedback that closely matched the dragon's articulation. The technology emphasized that riders needed to feel connected to their dragons, dynamically influencing their body movements to make the experience more authentic. The rigorous training involved extended sessions on the gimbal with wind and motion effects. It was uncomfortable at times, but also exhilarating. The actors expressed amazement at the intricacy of movement and the overall experience, emphasizing that riding the dragons felt like a unique, magical ride only they could have. Overall, the team worked hard to ensure that the dragons were visually stunning, emotionally resonant, and believable, delivering a visceral sense of what it would truly be like to fly alongside these magnificent creatures. The team decided to reimagine Berk by drawing on historical cues uncovered about Vikings and cultures from that era. The initial discussions centered on determining the tone as the story held heart, whimsy, and character, prompting them to explore direction. Approximately 4,000 costume pieces were created, covering all main characters, including every detail from buttons to shoes and helmets, as well as numerous background characters. Much of this work was done in-house by a large department of about 120 people. Lindsay, the costume designer, added modern touches to classic designs. For example, Hiccup's outfit resembled the animated movie, but incorporated a hoodie for a contemporary feel. The first costume fittings evoked strong emotions, especially when actors saw themselves transformed into childhood heroes. The Trial of Flame was a symbolic entry point into the characters' worlds. Astrid's costume stood out for its coolness and for the influence of different cultures, evident in the embroidery and textiles. The actor praised Lindsay's brilliant work and valued the costume from the initial fitting onward. Stoic's costume was particularly notable. Though heavy and difficult described as 100 pounds of misery, it appeared incredible on screen. The actor noted it was the most challenging costume he had ever worn, consisting of many leather pieces with straps and buttons, and weighing 90 pounds with weaponry. Feeling physically strong helped him inhabit the character's imposing presence. Oscar-winning hair and makeup designer Alessandro Bertolazzi joined the project after a Zoom call. Known for his passionate and wide-ranging inspirations, he aimed to find a story behind every character's look, emphasizing that the characters had to feel real despite the fantasy setting. The actor portraying Astrid had naturally curly hair, which posed continuity challenges due to weather conditions, especially in Belfast's climate. Alessandro braided the hair to maintain consistency and helped the actor fully embody the role, even as the shoot neared its end and the actor longed to remove the braids. The actors appreciated the authenticity of the costumes, which enhanced their performances and created a sense of magic during filming. Julian Dennison, portraying Fishlegs, felt his costume was the best and described stepping into it as a point of no return, helping him fully become the character. An actor playing Rough Nut found the experience of seeing the whole costume in the mirror exciting and memorable. The characters' silhouettes were vital to their identities. Seeing the characters lined up visually helped the actors connect with their roles, making it clear they only needed to show up and enjoy the experience. The actors' immersion in their costumes and characters culminated in an atmosphere charged with excitement and dedication, bringing the world of Berk to life.